as the larger nations will now move forwards to moon and explore, there'll be a lot of room for others to come up and keep up with pace and enter into the low Earth orbit and enter into an orbital economy. And this is open for your countries as it is for anybody else. Thank you very much for your attention, for having us here. It will be a pleasure to host you now with lunch. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Juckenhöfel, and thanks again to the great panel here. We now break for lunch, and I would ask you all to be back here at 2:40, please. 2:40. Thank you.
Énormément de choses. Nous avons pu en bénéficier à plusieurs titres. D'abord pour le développement agricole, ensuite pour la lutte contre la déforestation, l'aménagement du territoire, la gestion des ressources halieutiques et bien d'autres sujets. Voilà donc un secteur qui se développe fortement. Moi, je voudrais parler aujourd'hui de choses qui me concernent, qui m'intéressent légèrement, le secteur industriel et son évolution, et comment le spatial peut y apporter une valeur ajoutée, et comment le Maroc pourrait à la fois y contribuer et en bénéficier. Comme chacun sait, cette évolution du spatial civil est en train de révolutionner le monde. Nous avons l'intelligence artificielle, mais les objets connectés, les véhicules bientôt déjà sans conducteur, mais demain davantage, et l'utilisation du spatial est vraiment centrale dans ces domaines-là. Je voudrais vous dire que le Maroc s'intéresse fortement à ce secteur après s'être intéressé depuis quelques années au secteur aéronautique. Voici un secteur où, il y a quelques années, nous n'avions absolument rien et nous avons décidé de façon stratégique de nous y investir. Aujourd'hui, dans ce secteur, nous sommes présents, nous sommes réellement présents, avec au Maroc la présence des 3 constructeurs, Boeing, Airbus et Bombardier, et autour d'eux, un écosystème complet de 120 opérateurs, et nous sommes, dit-on, aujourd'hui à 34% de taux d'intégration dans le secteur aéronautique. Donc je vous disais, c'est un secteur où nous étions absolument absents. Il y a de cela 2 ans, nous avons commencé à réfléchir avec quelques amis, marocains et étrangers, au spatial. Qu'est-ce que nous pouvions faire dans ce domaine? Nous sommes extrêmement intéressés de regarder de plus près, de nous investir davantage. Il faut savoir qu'au Maroc, nous avons une population de 34 millions d'habitants avec une spécificité particulière. Nous avons plus un côté ingénieur, mathématicien, qu'un côté littéraire que nous avons, mais la balance penche beaucoup plus vers tout ce qui est scientifique. Et quand vous allez voir l'école polytechnique à Paris, il y a une cohorte de Marocains, la majorité des gens qui sont là sont Marocains. Nous avons l'école centrale, dont j'ai le plaisir d'être président ici au Maroc, l'école centrale de Paris a une école centrale de Casablanca, et nous avons des ingénieurs de très grande qualité. Je vous donne un exemple dans le secteur automobile. Nous avons signé il y a quelques années avec Renault puis PSA, et avec PSA, nous avons signé un centre de recherche et développement, avec un objectif, horizon 2023, 2500 ingénieurs et techniciens supérieurs. Nous sommes en 2019 à peine, ils ont dépassé les 3000, et donc ils sont très heureux que le design, la structure, l'intelligence qui est intégrée dans les véhicules qui sortent aujourd'hui de l'usine de PSA qui est à Kenitra ont été totalement designés par des ingénieurs marocains. Alors, un micro-focus sur ces ingénieurs qui sont tant demandés. je vous demanderai simplement de ne pas venir nous les piquer. Hein, à chaque fois que j'ai une tribune, je profite du micro quand on me le donne pour passer ce message. Mais nous sommes tout à fait d'accord pour que vous puissiez les utiliser ici. Donc nous montons avec Safran, par exemple, pour la réalisation d'une partie des réacteurs d'avion au Maroc, avec des ingénieurs, et ils sont extrêmement satisfaits de cette collaboration. Donc nous sommes très intéressés de rentrer dans le secteur du spatial parce que, comme je vous le disais, nous sommes aujourd'hui intégrés dans le secteur aéronautique, nous sommes dans le secteur automobile, avec une vraie perception de la transformation en profondeur de ce secteur industriel qui aujourd'hui tend gentiment vers le véhicule électrique. C'est très fort ce qui se passe dans le monde, vers le véhicule électrique, mais en même temps vers les véhicules connectés et évidemment de l'utilisation d'intelligence artificielle et de capacité d'utiliser des satellites. Aujourd'hui, nous sommes ancrés dans ces secteurs parce que nous avons un capacitaire de 700 000 véhicules fabriqués au Maroc, avec des taux d'intégration dépassant les 60% aujourd'hui. Et nous avons l'intention de rentrer de plein pied dans le spatial civil en travaillant avec toutes les parties prenantes et intéressées pour pouvoir jouer une micro-partition dans cette mondialisation du spatial. Nous pensons, modestement, ou pas, je ne sais plus, que le Maroc est en capacité de développer un secteur du spatial. J'ai un dossier sur mon bureau qui date déjà depuis presque 1 an et demi aujourd'hui, qui a été ficelé, qui n'est pas tout à fait à mon goût. J'ai décidé de l'y retravailler en profondeur et je souhaiterais avoir votre appui, votre participation et que l'on puisse ensemble faire que le spatial puisse être plus largement partagé. Évidemment, la technologie très poussée, je n'ai pas d'ambition à ce jour à ce niveau-là. Néanmoins, l'utilisation, les applications, la façon de pouvoir participer à réaliser des applications utilisant le spatial, nous avons la ferme intention d'en faire partie. Voilà ce que je voulais partager avec vous. Donc, bienvenue à tous ceux qui voudraient prendre attache avec nous et commencer à réfléchir ou à nous aider. Vous serez les bienvenus et nous serons ravis. Je vais malheureusement vous quitter parce que j'aurais aimé assister à toutes les présentations pour développer mon côté intellectuel tellement faible, dans ce domaine en tout cas, au moins. J'ai quelques 2000 personnes qui m'attendent dans une salle de conférence à 3/4 d'heure d'ici. On devait démarrer il y a quelques minutes. Donc je suis ministre du Commerce, de l'Investissement. Enfin, vous avez compris, ils ont fait un gouvernement avec des gens importants. Puis il restait des choses sur la table qui m'ont confié. L'investissement, le commerce, l'industrie et l'économie numérique. Donc aujourd'hui, nous avons une grande conférence de 2000 personnes pour le secteur du commerce, mais je pars en laissant une partie de mon cerveau avec vous, mais avec les satellites qui sont ici présents, je pense qu'on pourra rester connectés. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you so much, Minister El Alami, for being here with us and for your inspiring words. Now, our host country, Morocco, is represented this morning also by the ministry delegate to the head of government in charge for the National Defense Administration, His Excellency Mr. Abdelatif Lodi. Minister Lodi, you have the floor, please.
Monsieur le Président, Madame la Vice-Présidente, Mesdames et Messieurs les présidents et les directeurs, agences et sociétés du spatial, Mesdames et Messieurs, à mon tour de vous souhaiter la bienvenue au Royaume du Maroc, à vous tous, responsables, décideurs et acteurs opérants dans le domaine du spatial. Je voudrais aussi adresser mes vifs remerciements à la Fédération astronautique internationale d'avoir choisi notre pays pour accueillir cette importante manifestation. et de saluer son initiative d'associer les pays émergents et les nouvelles communautés au développement des activités spatiales. Mes remerciements vont aussi à M. Jean-Yves Le Gall, président du CNES, pour le soutien qu'il a apporté à l'organisation de cette conférence et son implication personnelle pour promouvoir le renforcement de la coopération bilatérale et internationale dans le domaine du spatial. Je remercie également l'ensemble des intervenants, panélistes et participants pour leur contribution dans le cadre des séances plénières qui se tiennent tout au long des 3 jours de cette conférence. Monsieur le Président, Mesdames et Messieurs, le spatial et les activités y associées occupent une place de choix dans notre présent et cette place sera davantage plus grande dans les années à venir. Au-delà de ces aspects liés au domaine de défense et de sécurité nationale et internationale, le spatial s'est en effet imposé au fil des années et des évolutions technologiques comme un secteur de première importance qui a des incidences directes sur la vie des citoyens, à telle enseigne qu'il est devenu indispensable dans de nombreux domaines. Indispensable aux télécommunications, à la gestion des ressources naturelles, à l'aménagement du territoire, à la prévision et gestion des catastrophes naturelles, au suivi des changements climatiques, etc., etc. Cette importance grandissante découle également du fait que le domaine spatial dépend entier de l'activité économique et se présente comme un important vecteur de croissance tant par ses technologies que par ses produits dérivés. En outre, le développement des activités spatiales est intrinsèquement un facteur de stimulation scientifique et technologique pour l'innovation industrielle et la formation d'un capital humain hautement qualifié. Monsieur le Président, Mesdames et Messieurs, le lancement réussi en novembre 2017 et en novembre 2018 de 2 satellites d'observation marocains, Mohamed VI A et B, marque une étape importante pour le Royaume du Maroc dans l'exploitation des technologies spatiales. Elle témoigne de la volonté renouvelée de notre souverain, Sa Majesté le Roi Mohamed VI, de faire des outils offerts par les technologies spatiales un véritable atout et un levier stratégique dans le cadre du développement socio-économique de notre pays. Cette importante réalisation s'inscrit dans le sillage d'une construction progressive qui prend ses racines dans la volonté affichée par le Royaume depuis les années 90 de s'approprier les technologies spatiales et leur exploitation au profit de tous les secteurs, publics et privés, impliqués dans les projets et programmes de développement. En 1988, le Maroc a créé le Centre royal de télédétection spatiale comme une institution nationale chargée de la promotion et du développement des applications des techniques spatiales au profit des utilisateurs nationaux, publics et privés. Quelques années plus tard, le Centre royal d'études et de recherche spatiale a été mis sur pied pour développer les activités de recherche en matière de technologie spatiale. Son projet de départ a débouché quelques années après sur la réalisation et le lancement du premier satellite expérimental marocain. Ce centre développe actuellement des partenariats de recherche avec le milieu universitaire, notamment en matière de nanosatellites. Par ailleurs, le Maroc s'est toujours inscrit dans une dynamique de développement de la coopération internationale dans le domaine spatial, étant convaincu de l'importance de la création des canaux d'échange d'expériences et d'expertise en la matière. C'est dans cet esprit qu'un accord cadre a été signé en 2006 avec l'Union européenne pour développer les applications à valeur ajoutée dans le domaine de la navigation et de positionnement par satellite. Plusieurs accords et mémorandums de coopération ont été également conclus au fil des années avec de nombreux pays agissant dans ce domaine. Monsieur le ministre de l'Industrie, tout à l'heure, il vous a parlé de l'intérêt de son département pour la constitution d'un écosystème industriel national dédié au spatial. Monsieur le Président, Mesdames et Messieurs, le choix du thème de la conférence, combler le gap spatial dans les pays émergents, traduit une volonté pertinente d'impliquer les pays émergents dans les activités spatiales et de les aider à en tirer le meilleur parti. Les pays émergents font en effet face à de nombreux défis qui s'engagent en s'engageant dans le domaine spatial. Ces défis concernent aussi bien l'accès à la technologie, l'appropriation de cette technologie, le renforcement du capital humain que la mobilisation des ressources financières adéquates pour la réalisation de ces projets. Votre conférence, qui regroupe les acteurs du domaine spatial, représentant aussi bien les pays avancés que les pays émergents, constitue à cet égard un excellent cadre d'échange, de débat et de propositions d'action et de projets pour élaborer ensemble une vision d'avenir pour renforcer les capacités et multiplier les opportunités de coopération. Monsieur le Président, Mesdames et Messieurs, l'Afrique dispose d'un important potentiel de croissance économique et regorge d'opportunités de développement, mais compte de nombreux pays qui ne disposent pas de moyens financiers, de moyens humains, de moyens techniques pour accéder aux technologies spatiales. Notre souhait est de voir émerger des initiatives adaptées pour que les pays africains puissent être intégrés, offerts par le bien commun le plus étendu de l'humanité qu'est l'espace. Nous sommes convaincus que l'Afrique peut s'engager sur la voie de l'émergence économique et technologique et dépasser bon nombre d'écueils au développement dans plusieurs secteurs en tirant le meilleur parti des avantages garantis par l'outil spatial. Je citerai notamment la rationalisation de la gestion des ressources naturelles, l'optimisation de la valeur ajoutée du secteur agricole et l'amélioration de l'accès aux soins de santé et à l'éducation. Les expériences réussies conduites dans certains pays africains ou dans des pays asiatiques sont là pour nous renseigner sur l'opportunité de telles actions et sur leurs résultats et impacts avérés. Nous pouvons donc que nous féliciter de la tenue de cette conférence sur une terre africaine et de la voir s'inscrire dans une dynamique de coopération internationale pour renforcer les liens d'échange et pour créer des opportunités de collaboration entre l'ensemble des acteurs de la communauté spatiale. Je termine mon mot en réitérant mes félicitations aux organisateurs de cette conférence et je remercie toutes les institutions qui ont contribué à cette tenue et je vous souhaite plein succès de votre travail. Merci de votre attention.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ludi, for your intervention. And now, to represent the International Astronautical Federation, I have the pleasure to introduce to you the IEF President, Dr. Jean-Yves Le Gall, who is also the President of the French Space Agency, CNES. Dr. Le Gall, you have the floor.
Good morning, Your Excellencies, distinguished delegates, and ladies and gentlemen. It's a very big privilege and a pleasure to welcome you today here for this global conference, GLEC 2019. And I am delighted to see such a high number of participants, and I am already looking forward to fruitful discussions over the next 3 days, since we are going to work till Friday afternoon. First of all, I would like to greet and thank His Excellency Mr. Abdelatif Ludi, Minister in charge of the National Defense Administration, for being here with us today. We have, in the past, we had a lot of discussions about this conference, and finally, we are making it, and I am very delighted for that. And as you said in your introductory speech, your presence here with us is a testament of the extreme importance the leadership of Morocco attaches to space and to welcoming new players into the space fold. I want also to express my sincere thanks to the Royal Centre for Remote Sensing, CRTS, and IAF members since 1996 for opening the doors of its beautiful country, Morocco, to the global space community, and for offering us the opportunity to have this international gathering. I think that we have almost 20 countries which are presented today, gatherings around such an important topic. Special appreciation also goes to the International Program Management Committee co-chairs, Mr. Driss El-Adani, Director of CRTS, Valentin Mounsami, CEO of SANSA in South Africa, and Jean-Pascal Lefranc, Director of Planning and International Relations of CNES in France, for their tireless efforts in putting together such an interesting and comprehensive program which is focused on a theme that deserves all our efforts and attention. In fact, our gathering here this week marks a milestone in the history of the IAF. Indeed, it is the very first time that we have organized a global conference focusing on new players, and the very first time we have held an event in Morocco. And when we discussed this possibility with the minister 3 years ago, it was not, it was a dream, and today the dream is alive. So thank you to all of you. And I think that everyone in this room would agree that bringing new players into the space debate is today, probably more than ever, of the utmost importance at a time when space activities are undergoing profound changes as a result of digital technologies and globally. This is why when I put my global agenda in 2016, 3 years ago, for my 3-year term as president, addressing the issue of new players in the space scene, it was an obvious choice. And in order to maximize the opportunities that lie ahead of us and every single action we can undertake to involve the new players, we created at the IAF a new portfolio for, and with a vice president for developing countries and emerging nations. And this portfolio is currently held by Valentin Mounsami. And I want to thank him very much because it has been hard work, but he brought a lot of enthusiasm, and it was dedicated to this very important cause. In general, the history of IAF not only rests upon the perseverance of its founding fathers who, by creating our federation, fought for what they believed in, but also on the key value of involving every single person who shows an interest in space, regardless of their culture, gender, of age. Hence, the IAF motto, connecting all space people. And this is why, in a spirit of enhancing cooperation, we must include all new space nations and make the best use of the potential they possess, exactly as we do amongst historical space nations. As you may know, the last International Astronautical Congress held in Bremen in October 2018 attracted delegates for more than 80 countries, revealing how space truly means something for more nations that we would imagine. And the day opening to the general public, we had 10,000 people, which has been a record, and I am sure, but we'll discuss this point later on, that we'll break this record in October in Washington, D.C. Some countries which were far from space a few years ago were present at this IAC. I can just speak about Ethiopia, the Solomon Islands, Nepal, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Chile, Ecuador, and these countries were eager to learn and share with the rest of the world. And I think that we cannot ignore that an increasing number of new players have established significant space programs, making them legitimate space players. Now, space services are reaching a large number of users in domains such as agriculture, land planning, fisheries, communication, navigation, ocean and land surface monitoring, health, natural resources management. Moreover, new players have a fertile environment to develop a sustainable space business in the near future, leveraging the new space context to apply available technology in an affordable and efficient way. In recent decades, the IIF has seen a great number of countries from all continents become active members and part of the space scene, making diversity a major aspect of the Federation and the space industry. We have now come to a time in space where individualism can no longer be part of our vocabulary and where working efficiently means working together by involving all stakeholders. The IIF's Global Innovation Agenda fully reflects this essential aspect enshrined in the principle of 3G diversity, and 3G standing for geography, generation, and gender. Here at GLEC 2019, we are focusing on geography, and because diversity brings a wealth of talents, experiences, and cultures, and stimulates a society's capacity to innovate, geographical diversity and global reach have been traditional features of the IIF since its inception. Seeing so many emerging nations interested in space only emphasizes the importance of geographical inclusion, and it is now time to seek answers to this topical question. How do we bridge the existing gap between established and emerging space nations? And what better way to find answers than by sitting together to share and confront our different views and ideas, and this is exactly what we are going to do during these 3 days. So, for these 3 days, my wish is to identify how we can actively engage new players in the space scene by reaching 5 main goals. The first one, to highlight the socio-economic benefits of space application. The second, understand the various financial models for the optimal resourcing of national space programs. Third, identify opportunities for technology spin-off and skills transfer. Fourth, create awareness about the basic infrastructure requirements for operationalizing national space programs. And fifth, last but not least, create awareness of the essential legislative and policy elements that must be considered in establishing national space programs. Of course, reaching these goals will take some time, but we have 3 days. But I am very, very positive that the contributions of each and every one of us, representing space agencies, industry, academia, as well as the younger generation, will undoubtedly help to provide a collective insight into the challenges we are facing and will help create opportunities for more collaborations and networking. Together, we will strengthen the cooperative ties between new and historical players in the global space venture and give a new impetus in this expansion. Once again, in conclusion, I would like to express my sincere thanks to every single person involved in creating and organizing GLEC 2019, our host, the CRTS, and CNES for the support, Professor Pascal Ehrenfreund, IIF Vice President for Communications, Publications, and Global Conferences, and my successor as IIF President for Air Supervision, and Pascal will be the first female president of the IIF. It's a very important point. The International Program Management Committee co-chairs and members, and of course our Executive Director, Christian Fechtinger, and its outstanding team. Before ending, I would like just to say that I am extremely proud of this conference and I'm very confident of its outcome. To see many of you here serves as a reminder to us or just how crucial this matter is. We want all nations, regardless of history, culture, or socio-economic situation, to achieve their full potential. Our task is to make this possible. Our mission is to provide practical, step-by-step support. It's a goal I know we all share in this room, the full development of every nation eager to make space a priority. I hope that this conference will be the first of many more to come, and together, progressively, we will open the door to many new players and allow them, as they fully deserve, to be part of the space arena. Once again, thank you for coming, and I wish you all the best for these three very fruitful days that we have in front of us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Legal, for your kind welcome. And now it is my distinct pleasure to welcome on stage here for her welcome the IEF incoming president, Professor Pascal Ehrenfreund, who is also our vice president for global conferences and, of course, the chair of the executive board of the German Aerospace Center, DLR.
Dear Excellencies, dear distinguished guests, friends and colleagues, and ladies and gentlemen, it's also my great pleasure for today, as the Vice President for Global Conferences of the International Astronautical Federation, to address you here today and also to welcome you to this really first global conference on space for emerging countries. Diversity, as well as reaching out to emerging countries, are a core objective of the IAF agenda. And by organizing these kind of conferences and also the large international astronautical congresses, I think our President Jean-Yves Le Gall and the IAF have truly made these issues a real priority. The IAF Global Conferences created together actually specialists on a very specific subject deemed important by the area to confront ideas and have quite a history. We have now many conferences on very different subjects, but this is the first one which is really dedicated to space for emerging countries. So we started in 2010 in Beijing, China. That was the first global lunar conference taking place, promoting international cooperation, scientific investigations, and technology development, helped to solve legal issues with the aim of stimulating the peaceful use of the moon. In 2012 and also in 2017, the Global Space Exploration Conference in Washington, D.C. and Beijing took place and brought together the global space exploration stakeholders to present results, exchange ideas, and debate roadmaps, and discuss the future opportunities provided by human and also robotic space exploration. It was also in 2014 and last year in 2018, respectively in Paris and also in Montevideo, that the GLEC, the Global Space Application Conference, was held, which brought together the global satellite-based services community to discuss future opportunities provided by satellite-based applications. And in 2015, the Global Space Innovation Conference took place in Munich, which attracted a great number of participants and provided an exclusive networking event that highlighted, investigated, and also discussed the key factors that enable successful space industry innovation and technology transfer to entrepreneurs. So last but not least, in 2016 in Geneva, the Global Conference on Space and the Information Society took place, examining and discussing the different means by which space allows people to connect worldwide. And throughout the years, the IAF global conferences have exponentially grown, and I think we are here several hundred people here in Marrakech. And also the number of participants, not only the number of participants, but also of stakeholders involved in the organization of the different editions have grown. And year after year, the IAF seeks to extend its range of subjects and targets the most topical matters in order to make the global conferences a global space gathering, and will generate fruitful outcomes for the host country and also the space sector as a whole. And we will discuss a lot this week how dynamic the space sector is, how many opportunities there are, how strong is actually the connection between the space sector and the non-space sector, and how it will actually grow and evolve. And so that's also why those global conferences, they grow in different directions and in different subjects. And I think this is something which makes the IAF really dynamic. I'm particularly convinced that this year's theme is of crucial importance. And taking also over the presidency of the IAF, it is my firm intention and obligation, together also with the experienced team of vice presidents, to guarantee its further development and take it also to the next level by raising more and more awareness about its great impact and value. GLEC 2019 is the opportunity for emerging countries to create a platform, to initiate cooperation and joint programs, and also jointly explore current and future opportunities, as well as discuss solutions to the challenges faced by emerging countries, such as infrastructures, human capital, and financial resourcing, all the topics which we will actually also discuss at this meeting. These challenges form the cornerstone of GLEC 2019 and have also shaped the planetary sessions, which were briefly mentioned already before. And it is really intended to inform and build the intellectual capacity among emerging countries. And in addition, on Friday, a sixth session has been introduced that relates to policy and law, a really important consideration for undertaking space activities of the future that have both international reach and also global security implications, especially with regards to development and use of dual-use technologies. The IAF's main goal regarding emerging countries is to produce benefits that will allow emerging countries to be fully integrated into the space arena. And our duty is also really to accompany them on this journey filled with opportunities and challenges. And I'm sure that GLEC 2019 is really the perfect platform to dig deep into this subject and deliver concrete solutions. I would like to extend my gratitude to the Royal Center of Remote Sensing and also to the French Space Agency, CNES, for co-organizing this event. A special thanks also to the International Program Management Committee, co-chairs and members for all the efforts they have provided in putting together this great program. And of course also special appreciations to Jean-Yves Legal, IAF President, and to Christian Feichtinger, the IAF Executive Director, and of course also the people which are very, very busy doing all the logistics, the IAF Secretariat, and their really outstanding daily work, helping us also in the next 3 days. In order to guarantee emerging countries' long-term inclusion tomorrow, we need to act today. And this is why I invite each and every one of you to make the most out of the GLEC 2019, to discuss, to exchange, and to share. The next 3 days are the unique opportunity to make a difference. So in a spirit of cooperation, let us make GLEC 2019 one of the best global conferences ever. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Professor Ehrenfreund, for your kind words. And now it is my distinct pleasure to introduce our last speaker for this opening ceremony, one of our partners in organizing this event, chair of the local organizing committee and also co-chair of the International Program Committee. Please give a warm welcome to Dr. Drisel Hadani, Director General of the Royal Center for Remote Sensing. Please,
Merci. Monsieur le Ministre, Monsieur le Président, Mesdames et Messieurs, permettez-moi à mon tour, au nom du Comité international du programme et au nom du Comité local d'organisation, de souhaiter la bienvenue à tous les participants et aux experts qui ont répondu à l'invitation des organisateurs et leur souhaiter un agréable séjour au Maroc. Je tiens à exprimer mes vifs remerciements à Monsieur le Ministre, car grâce à son soutien, à ses orientations, que nous avons pu tenir cette conférence internationale aujourd'hui à Marrakech. Cette rencontre a lieu, comme ça a été déjà souligné par Monsieur le Ministre, dans un contexte international marqué par une forte transformation du secteur spatial, sur les plans technologiques, sur les plans de la gouvernance et de la commercialisation, comme en témoigne la multiplication aussi bien des projets spatiaux nationaux que les initiatives internationales et régionales de coopération et de coordination dans le domaine spatial. La participation du CRTS à l'organisation de cette conférence s'inscrit dans un processus de rencontre et de manifestation qui vise à traduire le progrès réalisé dans le domaine technologique, spatial, en application opérationnelle pour assurer une plus grande intégration de ces technologies dans les opérations de gestion des ressources et les programmes de développement socio-économique. La conférence GLEC 2019 est l'expression de la volonté de tous les acteurs, chefs d'agences spatiales, industriels, universitaires, décideurs chargés des programmes de développement, de réunir leurs compétences et de coordonner leurs actions afin de tirer le meilleur parti des outils technologiques spatiaux. Je suis convaincu que ce cycle de conférences sur l'espace pour les pays émergents, lancé aujourd'hui à Marrakech, va se poursuivre pour favoriser le renforcement des capacités endogènes de façon continue et systématique des pays émergents, car le potentiel des techniques spatiales ne peut être pleinement exploité si les ressources humaines ne disposent pas du savoir et des compétences nécessaires. Ce cycle de conférences permettra également à ces pays de s'organiser en réseau, permettant de bâtir une vision régionale intégrée quant à la mise en place et à l'exécution des projets de programmes de développement sur la base d'un partenariat véritable et solidaire. Je remercie encore une fois toutes les équipes qui ont participé à l'organisation de cette conférence et je souhaite plein succès dans vos travaux. Merci de votre attention.
Thank you very much, Dr. El Hadani, for helping us to bring this conference to Morocco and for your kind words. This brings us almost to the end of the opening ceremony, and I would like to ask you to join me again in a round of applause for our fantastic speakers. This year's global conference has just opened its doors, and the IEF is already looking and planning ahead for its next edition of our global conferences. And it is now with great pleasure that I formally announce to all of you the location and the theme for next year's global conference. It will be a new chapter of the IEF Global Space Exploration Conference, GLEC 2020, to be held in St. Petersburg in Russia in June next year. Given the achievements and the momentum of this particular topic, we decided that the new edition on space exploration was now due, and Russia has always been a key actor in space exploration, and we are very glad to have the opportunity to bring the Federation and its community to Russia in June next year. I would now like to ask you all to support me in welcoming on stage with a warm applause, Mr. Sergei Savelev, Deputy Director General of the State Space Corporation Roscosmos. And let me also ask Dr. Jean-Yves Le Gall, President of the International Astronautical Federation, to join us for the official signature of the Memorandum of Agreement between IEF and Roscosmos on GLEC 2020. Thank you very much. Mr. Savierev, maybe you would like to say a few words?
Ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, I'm pleased to address you at GLEC 2019 in Marrakech. Today we have signed the Memorandum of Understanding between the International Astronautical Federation and Roscosmos for the upcoming Global Space Exploration Conference, which will take place in St. Petersburg, Russia in 2020. It is a big honor for us that Russia has been chosen a hosting country for such a significant event, and I believe that GLEC 2020 will become a successful continuation of the IF's series of global conferences. The State Space Corporation Roscosmos has been a permanent member of the International Astronautical Federation for many years. We take part in annual international astronautical congresses, global conferences, and other associated events organized by IAF. These events have proven to be the world's most exciting, diverse, and rewarding professional meetings that bring together thousands of decision makers and experts from governmental bodies, researchers, and engineers, representatives of industry and private sector involved in space activities. We expect that GLEC 2020 would encourage space exploration community to share recent results, discuss current challenges, and collaborative solutions among all nations with the desire to explore space. I invite all of you to St. Petersburg and look forward to meeting you at GLEC 2020. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I'm sure that next year's chapter will maintain the high level of interest that is characterizing the GLEC 2019 year, and we hope to meet you all in St. Petersburg next year. This brings us now to the end of the opening ceremony, and I would like to thank once again all our speakers, and like to ask you give another round of applause and maybe ask you to take a seat in the first row. And now we are ready to start off the program with our first keynote speaker. This is Dr. Tidiane Ouattara. Dr. Ouattara is currently space science expert and coordinator for GMES and Africa program at the African Union Commission. In his position, he is in charge of the development and implementation of the African Outer Space Program. Dr. Ouattara will give us a keynote, a high-level keynote titled Space Science and Technology, Key Enabler for an Integrated, Prosperous and Peaceful Africa. Dr. Ouattara, you have the floor.
Processus protocolaire exige, et même s'ils sont absents, nous ne trahirons pas la tradition. Son Excellence, M. Moulay Afidel Alami, ministre de l'Industrie, de l'Investissement, du Commerce et de l'Économie numérique, Son Excellence, M. Abdelatif Loudiyi, ministre délégué auprès du chef de gouvernement chargé de l'administration et de la défense nationale, M. Jean-Yves Le Gall, président du International Astronautical Federation, Monsieur Driss El Adani, directeur général du Centre royal de télédétection spatiale du Maroc, distingués invités, Mesdames, Mesdemoiselles et Messieurs, I'm deeply honored to convey to all of you warm felicitations from the African Union Commission and to appreciate your convergence on this beautiful city of Marrakech for the 2019 Global Conference on Space for Emerging Countries. Let me take this opportunity to thank and congratulate the government and people of the Kingdom of Morocco for working closely with the International Astronautical Federation, the Centre royal de télédétection spatiale, and the Centre national d'études spatiales of France in hosting and organizing this very important conference for the hospitality accorded to us and all the delegates since our arrival here. Today's convergence evokes the aspirations that the people of Africa envision in our Continental Development Blueprint Agenda 2063 for an integrated, prosperous, and peaceful continent with the means to harness its resources, to drive its own development on a sustainable basis. This conference therefore evokes a sublime continental goal, which seeks to put science and technology at the center of Africa's quest for growth and prosperity. The theme for this conference, centered on bridging the space divide in emerging countries, is very apt and timely. Without doubt, the potential for us to stride into the global development lane is enormous, but nothing offers a more promising trajectory along this path than space, science, and technology. Distinguished delegate, what is the importance of space for emerging countries? Emerging countries all over the world have remarkable growth potential. Space science and technology are not only important elements of this potential, but crucial contributors to the sustainable use of natural resources for the creation of jobs, eradication of poverty, and prevalence of social justice, as well as the deep knowledge of our Earth and planet. Emerging economies have immeasurable scope of opportunities and benefit to derive from space. I will not go to the details. Since you are the expert, you have a very good knowledge on it. Earth observation, satellite navigation and positioning, satellite telecommunication, all of them gives opportunities to African countries to innovate, to create growth, but to include remote areas and rural people in the context of the development. Practically, astronomy will give opportunities to African population, which traditionally has been involved in astronomy for more than a century, to continue the quest for the search for the knowledge. As Jules-Henri Poincaré said in La Valeur de la Science, 1904, astronomy is useful because it shows how small our bodies, how large our minds. The space-related challenges for emerging countries are numerous. Without digging too much, I would say the resource mobilization is indeed central to the quest for transforming our economies vis-à-vis the benefit of space. It is quite obvious that adequate facilities and skilled human resource base are insufficient in most emerging countries to enable the development of viable space programs that can contribute meaningfully to economic growth and development. We have seen how space programs have suffered from the absence of coordinated approach that will yield outputs in terms of know-how, resources, and management. Fueled by the lack of adequate public awareness about the significance of space, this fragmentation draws the prospect for any centralized policies to guide the conduct of stakeholders and address regulatory issues. How then do we strategize to tap into the treasuries of space to support development efforts in emerging countries? We will address this question through the specific case of Africa. In fact, what it is about the African development challenges, and the space opportunities. Africa has had multifaceted development challenges which are interlinked and transcend national boundaries. The very pillars of the continent's economic-based fabric, including agriculture, water and natural resources, energy, the blue economy, and digital infrastructure, are at the heart of these challenges. On the global scale, climate change and variability, as well as disaster reduction, feature prominently in the agenda of the post-2015 Sustainable Development Goals. Africa has the weakest connectivities and digital infrastructure worldwide, with a staggering expenditures of $400 billion to access the digital world, while spending only $5 billion on creating its own digital wealth. These challenges cannot be addressed by the governments alone. Africa offers numerous and huge opportunities to the worldwide space community. Indeed, the digital evolution is predicted to continue to generate more gains for Africa in the next decade. According to the McKinsey report of November 2013, entitled Lions Go Digital, the Internet's Transformative Potential in Africa, the amount of Internet users in the continent is expected to increase to 600 million by 2025. From $18 billion in 2015, the Internet contribution to African GDP is projected to hit $300 billion by 2025. From $15 billion of annual e-commerce sales in 2015, this figure is expected to be $75 billion by 2025. The number of smartphones in Africa was 60 million in 2015, and in 2025, it is expected to reach 360 million. The necessity for better connectivity at low cost is real, and the need is increasing. New space technologies and international frameworks add to the emerging digital prospect will contribute to fixing Africa's connectivities. The following are among some global framework that herald boundless opportunities for the continent: the OneWeb satellite constellation, Starlink, SpaceX, and the Swiss Astrocast. Distinguished delegates, I will not spend too much time on the opportunities Africa is offering to space community. Africa is actually the new El Dorado for space business. In addition to the established space agencies and institutions, the African continent boasts are thriving space institutions and centers in Ghana, Ethiopia, Kenya, among other countries, with national remote sensing centers as well as research and development institutions involved in space matters. Space and allied science and technology associations and NGOs actively populate the continent's space market. Regional economic communities, such as ECOWAS in Western Africa, are developing their regional space policy and strategies aligned with the continental one. Space and geospatial-related initiatives in Africa add value to a burgeoning industry with bilateral and multilateral projects and activity both regional and at regional and national levels. Space science and its attendant benefits have become global goods that Africa cannot afford to miss. This is why the African Union Commission, through the Agenda 2063, which is the booklet of its priorities for the upcoming 50 years, has identified the African Outer Space Program among the African Union flagship program. The African space policy and strategy enable African countries to approach space activities with a common agenda, strategy, and pool of resources to maximize the benefits derived from space and to harness space science, technology, and innovations for Africa growth and transformation. The African space policy and strategy invite African countries, bring African countries to a more coordinated action
vis-à-vis of the space matters. The African Union Commission has made huge progress for the development and implementation of the African Outer Space Program since the adoption of the space policy and strategy in 2016. The first progress, the statute of the African Space Agency has been adopted, and the hosting country has been decided, and Egypt has been designed as the hosting country. The second progress is the long-term agreement between the African Union Commission and the European Commission on the utilization of the Copernicus for the management of the environment. I'm speaking about the Global Monitoring for Environment and Security in Africa, GMS in Africa. I have the honor to coordinate. This program of 30 million over 4 years involved 13 consortia, 44 countries, and involved 72 regional national institutions, including academy, private sector, to address water and natural resources and marine and coastal areas issues. And third, the African Union Commission has signed with the European Commission the agreement that allows all African institutions without exception to access to the Copernicus data free of charge. What could be therefore the way forward for emerging countries for taking full advantage of the space, science, and technology? To produce a critical mass of scientists and engineers, emerging countries must invest in human capital development through higher education and training institutions. To assure relevance and impact, national space programs ought to be institutionalized with clear governance programs and structures that will commit to formulating regulatory frameworks to enable their competitiveness in line with international treaties and conventions. Building a robust infrastructure is inevitable for harnessing opportunities offered by space on a sustainable basis. Public-private partnership and government support are important in integrating space technologies into other sectors of the economy and in creating the enabling environment for the development of space industry. Space is an expensive business, and adequate resources are critical for the development and sustaining of vibrant space industry. But emerging countries must endeavor to source their funding locally through government interventions, the private sector, and philanthropy. Concrete financing mechanisms are also required to guarantee sustaining funding. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, this conference is one remarkable platform that will be useful in finding answers to questions as to how we organize ourselves better, mobilize the need resources, build our human resources basis and infrastructure, forge effective partnership, and institute regulatory frameworks. With the application and utilization of space technologies, emerging countries can power their economies and better the living conditions of their people. As emerging countries, we are operating within a wide field of challenges and uncharted opportunities. The potential are there, and the foundations have already been laid for active and buoyant space programs in Africa. We have the wherewithal to overcome those challenges and turn them into prospects and opportunities for a vibrant space industry in emerging countries. It should not be left to governmental action to exploit these opportunities and confront the challenges. Rather, all players within the public and private sector and among scientists, academics, policymakers, and end users of space products and services must rise up to the challenges. This is the only way for African emerging countries to use the space science and technology to get to the Africa we want, as stated in the Agenda 2063. On that note, I wish to thank all of you for this opportunity, for your time and for your kind consideration. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ouattara, for your presentation. It was extremely relevant to kick off the discussion with a keynote involving the vision of space policies of the whole continent. So please join me in giving another round of applause to our high-level keynote speaker. And now, I would like to invite you to join me in the Patio Andalou outside for the opening of our small exhibition with a small ribbon cutting ceremony. So I would like to ask you all to get out to the patio, and if I may ask our IEF vice presidents, the IPC co-chairs, the IEF president, incoming president, to help us to cut the ribbon. There will be a small tea and coffee break right afterwards, and I would like to ask you all to be back here again at 11:40 sharp for the beginning of the first session. Thank you very much.